Dental school is one of the most expensive professional graduate school programs in the US. Did you know that? On average, dental school is more expensive than medical school, pharmacy school, optometry school, vet school, and even law school. So, how expensive is dental school, really? Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Akosua, and on this channel, I make informational videos for pre-dental students, and new dentists on their journey to dentistry. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the average cost of dental school and some factors to consider when you're calculating that average cost. Please stay tuned. First and foremost, my aim is not to discourage anyone from becoming a dentist, but rather with this information provide some insight so that you can make an informed decision when you're deciding that dental school is what you would like to do. Dentistry is still a great career, and there are a lot of benefits to becoming a dentist. Most dentists generally work 4 to 5 days a week and are generally not on call on the weekends unless you work in the hospital. Dentists also have the opportunity to open up their own practices and set up their own hours if they would like. According to the US News 100 Best Healthcare Jobs of 2021, dentistry ranked number 5, and in the past, dentistry has ranked higher than that. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics reports that the average dentist is making $164,010 a year. Dentistry generally pays well, and the earning potential can be great. So I say all of this to say, don't let these numbers of the cost of dentistry or the cost of dental school discourage you, but rather let that inspire you to actually look into ways in which you can manage these numbers and plan before you even go into dental school. When looking at the cost of dental school, there are a few factors to consider. Some of the factors are fixed costs and are determined by the school, like tuition and fees, books and supplies, dental instruments, and medical insurance. Others are more variable, like the room and board, transportation, and personal expenses. However, the biggest factor to affect your total cost of attendance is the tuition and fees, and that number is steadily rising each year in dental schools. The tuition and fees is largely affected by a few important factors. Are you going into a public or private school? And if you're going into a public school, are you going to be an in-state resident versus an out-of-state resident? And if you're going to be an out-of-state resident, does that state permit you to apply for in-state residency after a couple years or a year of dental school? These are important questions to ask yourself when you're trying to decide which dental school to select. Okay, just so you know, the rest of this video is math intensive and has a lot of numbers, so please stick with me as I work through these numbers. The ADA, the American Dental Association, provides a lot of insight on their website. In 2019-2020, the average first-year cost of dental school, including tuition and mandatory general fees, was $55,395 for residents and $72,219 for non-residents. The results also varied by institution type. So in 2019-2020, the average resident first-year cost of public dental school programs was $41,711, while the cost of private dental school programs was $75,161. Now note that these averages are only for the first year. I'll get to all 4 years later in the video, but even with this little information, you can see already that you have to be mindful of what type of dental school that you are selecting. If I compare just those numbers, that's the public versus private school, and also being an in-state resident versus out-of-state resident, then you can see it's generally cheaper to attend a public school versus a private school, and also cheaper to attend as a resident of your state instead of as a non-resident. The ADA also provides a very detailed Excel sheet breaking down the cost of fees and tuition by year at each school, as well as providing the total tuition and fees. This data is from 2019-2020. So this table here, table 6, shows the dental schools ranked by total resident cost for all 4 years. The schools have been ranked from the least expensive to the most expensive. You will notice that almost all the state schools appear at the top of the list, and the private schools toward the bottom. The cheapest school to attend as a resident of the state is the University of Puerto Rico, where the total cost of tuition and fees for 4 years is $113,886. And the most expensive school to attend, even if you're a resident, is Midwestern University, Illinois, costing you $411,000 $385. The average tuition and fees for all the schools as a resident of the state is calculated to be $258,412. So Table 7 is similar to the previous one I just showed you. This one shows the total non-resident cost for all 4 years, and the schools have also been ranked. So the cheapest school to attend out of your state is University of Mississippi at $150,148, and the most expensive is the University of Illinois Chicago at $436,435, with the average out-of-state cost as $326,294. So you can see that there is a wide range of tuition and fees costs, with University of Puerto Rico at the one end of the range at $113,886, and the University of Illinois Chicago on the other end, which is $436,435. By the way, I was shocked to find out that the two most expensive schools to attend out of state were not private schools, they were actually public schools. And these two schools are University of Washington and then University of Illinois Chicago. So keep this in mind as you're selecting schools. Just because a school is a state school does not necessarily mean it's cheaper. It's only cheaper if you're a resident of that state. But if you're not a resident, it might actually be cheaper depending on what you're looking at to go to a private school. So in this graph, you can see that the average cost of dental school is steadily rising. In 2009, if you attended your state school as a resident, your average cost of tuition and fees was $158,119, versus in 2019, it would cost you $258,412. So that's a difference of $100,293. In 2009, you attended a school as an out-of-state student, so that means whether private or public. Your average cost was about $216,842, compared to 2019, where the cost was $326,294. So the difference here is also $109,452. So another factor to consider is that these numbers that are being shown as the total cost of attendance after 4 years is assuming that you're paying for all these 4 years in cash. Meaning when they quote you for your first year tuition, you're paying automatically and you're not waiting to pay for it with a loan at the end of the 4 years, because that matters. For example, if you're paying your first year tuition with a loan, then at the end of your 4 years, that number that you eventually would have to pay is more than the actual number that was quoted for your first year tuition because of interest. Most dental students are paying for their dental school education with loans, and most of the loans are unsubsidized, which means that they start to accrue interest from the day that you take them out. And the interest rates are about 5 to 7% depending on the type of loan that you have. So if you attend Puerto Rico, the University of Puerto Rico, your total cost of attendance quoted is $113,886. And it breaks down by year like this. So in your first year, it's $35,155. Your second year is $36,002. Third year, $21,360. Fourth year, $21,369. That totals $113,886. So if you put in the tuition for the first year, that is $35,155 at an interest rate, we'll just say 6%. At the end of your 4 years, what do we have? At the end of your 4 years, that $35,155 has grown to $39,630. Then let's put in the numbers for the second year, which is $36,002. Well, actually, we have to change this to 3 years, not 4. And so that $36,002 that you took out for your second year, by graduation time, you would have paid $39,429. If you calculate that for all 4 years, now your new total is $123,850. as opposed to the quoted $113,886. So I applied that same calculation to the most expensive school, which is the University of Illinois Chicago. Except for the University of Illinois Chicago, I couldn't find the year-by-year breakdown on the Excel sheet. And so I took the total tuition and fees cost and I just divided that by 4. So we're just going to assume that each year the cost was the same. So in the first year, it's $109,108, and same for the second, third, and fourth. And when I did the math, it came up to a total of $471,233. And remember, this is all only tuition and fees. You have to remember to add on at the very end your personal expenses, medical insurance, and everything else that isn't tuition and fees. I couldn't calculate the cost of living for every state because every state is different and everybody is different even within the state. So I'm just going to use a random number that is a very frugal, very small number. We're just going to assume that every month that you're in dental school, your average cost of living is $1,500. So $1,500 living very frugally to pay for your rent and your food. I mean, possibly you have roommates, food, if you have any car expenses or transportation expenses. We'll just go with $1,500 a month, which means that in the year, so 1,500 times 12, we're looking at about $18,000 a year. And so $18,000 a year times 4 years of dental school comes up to $72,000 for your cost of living. And even that number grows. So your $18,000 that you took out in your first year grows to $20,291 by graduation if you took it out with a loan. And your $18,000 that you took out in your second year grew over 3 years to $19,713. And so after that 4 years, instead of it just being a flat $72,000, you're actually going to be paying $77,741. So when you add all of that up, a student that attended the University of Puerto Rico have a total cost of attendance average at about $201,591. If you do the same math for the University of Chicago, Illinois, and you're looking at a total of $548,964. So with all the math that we've done, let's just say that you went to an expensive school and you're graduating with $500,000 in debt and you want to pay that off in 10 years. You're looking at a monthly payment of about $5,555. The average dentist is making $164,000. Now, mind you, this is pre-tax. So they're maybe taking home $120,000 after taxes. You divide $120,000 by 12 and you're getting about $10,000 a month, which means that after you pay off your student loan bill, you're looking at about $4,445 to live off of, which is still a good amount of money, depending on what your life looks like. After 10 years of your loans, you would have paid back $666,123. Of course, you can stretch your payment over 25 years to make your monthly payment less. So if you want to do it over 25 years, you're looking at a monthly payment of $3,222 on that monthly income of $10,000 a month. You're looking to live off of $6,778. After 25 years, you would have paid back $966,452. That's almost $1 million. That is astronomical. A loan that started off as $500,000 at the end of your 25th year is almost $1 million. So again, this is actually all assuming that you want to pay back your debt in the most traditional way, which is make the monthly payments in order to complete paying off your debt after 25 years, for example. But there are also other ways to consider paying off your debt. If you have a loan as large as $500,000, it might be worth it to look into other payment strategies. Payment strategies like the PSLF, which is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, or the IBR, which is the Income-Based Repayment Program, or PAY, which is the Pay-As-You-Earn program. I think it's important to consider all your options so that you know what's on the table when you're trying to figure out how to pay off this debt. I hope this video is very helpful because if you're considering dental school, you need to be aware of all the costs that are involved. And if you're already in dental school, you also still need to be aware because your cost of living can really fluctuate and affect that final number by graduation day. All of the links for the websites, the graphs, the Excel sheets that I used are going to be in the description box below. If you found this information very helpful, please like this video and share it with someone that might also benefit from this information. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have not already subscribed, please do so. Thank you. Bye.